Hello guys, today I'm going to show you how to integrate your 3D elements into your footage. So it's going to be a brief overview of what you've seen previously. So it's not going to be a full in-depth tutorial. If you want me to do some tutorial of any part, for example tracking or I don't know, adding the building behind, rotoscoping or something like that, you just write in the comments and I'll do a separate tutorial about that. So first you're going to need your footage and HDRI of your environment. So when you have these two things, so first step is to add the footage into Blender or any tracking software you use. I use sometimes PFTrack or Blender mostly. So just click on a plus sign next to the scripting button and go to the VFX and then motion tracking, and this window will appear. So then you just need to track your footage, add the tracking points, click on focal length for Blender to estimate your camera's focal length, and click on solve camera motion. I've got I think I've got a little bit higher error, around 0.445 or something like that, but I deleted some trackers that weren't tracked properly and got 0.35. That's considered good. Anything below 0.4, I would say you can delete all the trackers so as to get the low error as possible, but 0.35 is good for this, for sakes of this tutorial. And as you can see, the plane is perfectly tracked. So I did I don't know how many elements, I think the man running across the camera, then the tank here, and this building behind, and the vehicle, the van for passing by the camera. So I will just briefly show you how I did how I added the tank. So I'm using Blender Kit free add-on, which you can download and install by going on Preferences, Install, and click on your zip file after you downloaded from the Blender Kit.com page. Click Install add-on, and then the add-on will appear here. Then you can click on Free first and the Military and click on Show, this little icon. So as you can see, we can see a few tanks here. I've chosen this one, so click on this tank and align it properly. Align the tank properly on the floor. I'm now just going to shut the floor, turn off the floor visibility, and I think the tank was this big. And as you can see, I've turned this ground plane to shadow catcher. You need to be in cycles for that only, so go to the cycle, GPU compute or CPU depending on your rendering device. Go to the object properties, then visibility, and click shadow catcher. And then if you click on render button, the shadow will appear below the tank. So now we came to the second part, that's integrating your actually importing your HDRI environment picture. So for that you need to go to the shading tab and choose the world here, not object, but the world. I'll now delete the environment picture so I can show you. So click on Shift A, search for environment texture node, click on open your environment JPEG or PNG, and connect the color to the surface. And for this part you need to go to Edit, Preferences, enable Node Wrangler. So Node Wrangler, add-on that comes default by Blender, and click on your environment picture and press Ctrl T. And then you will be presented with two nodes. It's a mapping node and the texture coordinate node. You can leave it connected to generated, it's okay. And actually the mapping node is the most important, so I will turn on the HDRI visibility. So by default the Blender will you will not have the check the transparent button. So if you click on render, you will be the Blender will render the HDRI picture. So you need to adjust it, so rotate it by z-axis and try to match the perspective to your footage. Let's say, for example, I didn't take the HDRI exactly at the location from the spot I was recording my footage, but let's say it's approximately here, because I recorded that building from here on the left, so we can leave it just like that, and click on film transparent, so the Blender does not render our HDRI. So if you click on render now, you'll see that the shadow corresponds to the shadow in my footage. So that's for the tank. Then I rendered every element separately. I rendered, so I can show you, I rendered the tank separately, I rendered the people that are running across the camera separately, and building separately, building in the background, so I can have more control on afterwards in After Effects on each element. So so that's it, that's for the tank. Then I added the van. I've used the two add-ons here. So RBC add-on, it's a really amazing add-on that lets you rig a car very easily and control it and animate it afterwards. So you check that add-on out. I strongly suggest you to invest, if you have of course money, in this add-on and buy it. And the next add-on is traffic full add-on, which comes with a lot of utility vehicles and street elements, street signs, and so on. So I've used their utility vehicles for the car for that, and animated the car passing by the camera, and also rendered it separately. And with all my rendered elements, I've put them into After Effects, as you can see. And so now you can see here a lot of sparks, footage of sparks, as you can see, 2D footage, and I've color corrected the video, so without the adjustment layer. That's my original video, and with the adjustment layer I've added, using the Red Giant Magic Bullet looks, into the Red Giant Super Comp. So I'm using Red Giant plugin, because Super Comp allows you to have all the elements here, so you need to add all the elements. So it's whether it is compositing or adding 3D elements or rigging a car in Blender, or color grading, color correcting the footage. So firstly I've color corrected the footage, then I've added the red giant looks on top of it, and yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching, and if you have any suggestions or questions, write it down in the comments and I'll answer it. So until next time.